Gold on the rise today. Futures bouncing back from their lowest point in almost 4 weeks, and with increasing concerns over the U.S. and European economies, could go higher still. That, of course, creating some opportunities for investors. My guest is John Stephenson, Senior Vice President and Portfolio Manager at First Asset Investment Management. He's joining us from Toronto, where he's telling us it's finally getting cold, I guess, up there.
Yeah, finally dipping into the mid-30s right now, but it's been in the 50s for a while.
Well, gold's not something you're going to buy and throw in the fireplace, unfortunately, but it is something that is warming the hearts of a lot of investors. Let's take a step back for about a week or even 4 weeks. We saw gold peak, and then it lost altitude very much during the height of the European crisis. Didn't seem to be a connection. Now we're coming back. Is there a reestablished connection?
I think there is a reestablished connection. I think if you look back over, say, a longer period of time, a decade, it's really been the best investment over the last decade. And I would suggest that, going forward, it's going to be a great investment probably for the next decade as well. And I think what you're seeing is really a reconnection with some of these concerns. It trades not as a commodity, but really trades as a currency. And I think if you look back over the last year, what's been a really great investment that's held up surprisingly well has been the euro. And I think ultimately when the euro breaks down, and I do believe that's coming, and quite in quick order, you're going to see gold push through 2,000. And I think the next stop is 2,500 an ounce.
How long?
I think you give it a couple months. I think you're already seeing Europe starting to fray at the edges. The debate between Germany and France is only intensifying. The French want the ECB to start acting like the Fed and buying up the bonds of these distressed countries. And I think the Germans rightfully look back to 1927 and the Weimar Republic and say, hey, we can't have that. This goes against everything we've set up in terms of the Bundesbank and what we signed on for in the Eurozone. And I think they just won't let it happen. And if they were to happen, it would have to require the signatures of 17 member countries. I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, we're going to continue our conversation because that's a fascinating theory. Coming up, more with John Stephenson and gold. Could it really go to $2,500? And could we possibly be talking about just a couple months from now? You don't want to miss this on Taking Stock. This is Taking Stock on Bloomberg. I'm Michael McKee in for Pim Fox. We're talking gold with John Stephenson, Senior Vice President and Portfolio Manager at First Asset Investment Management. John, you said gold is performing something like a currency. Ben Bernanke says it doesn't tell him anything. We're in a world where long-only ETFs are buying gold just because the only direction they can take something is really up. You've got gold going up when inflation's high, gold going down when inflation falls, gold going up when Europe's in trouble, gold going up when things calm down. What is gold these days?
Well, gold is really a gauge of fear, and it's a gauge of fear in the financial system and the health of the system. And what I believe is that gold will eventually push through 2,000, and the next stop is going to very quickly be $2,500 an ounce. And the reason I say that is you've got Europe, the second largest economic bloc in the world, that's about to splinter. You've got these very different cultures who don't see the world the same way. I mean, after all, the Romans had running water in the UK 500 years before the British thought it was a good idea. So this is Europe as it stands today. And if you have a currency that is the euro that's set up on a bunch of rules and a theory with no strong national army or navy backstopping it, and you're not allowed to print money, which is the current case, eventually you're going to start to see this currency union fracture, and that will be good for gold. I think gold could be...
Just very quickly, they always tell you trading currencies comes with risk if it's a currency. What if Europe solves its problems?
Well, sure. If Europe solves its problems and America's fiscal mess gets resolved overnight, then absolutely, gold best days are behind it, and I would sell and run to the exits for sure.
All right, gold and heading to $2,500. Do the Toronto Maple Leafs stay in first place when gold hits that?
Oh, I'd be much better. I'd rather bet on gold than on the Maple Leafs. History has shown it to be a poor investment.